proud to say that I have finished my boat. I've had it out on a couple of rivers, a couple of lakes, and it's passed all of its tests. But mainly, it didn't sink. My first YouTube video, I covered the hull and the start of its construction. And I flipped it over and showed the bottom of the boat. There's a lot going on the bottom of this boat. It's got stump bumpers and metal skid plates, aluminum side protection on the edges. And then I turned it back over and worked on it this winter and got it all finished up. This is what we got. I put this 50 horse Tohatsu motor on it. I started looking for motors in February and did not realize that there was a worldwide outdoor board motor shortage. I had called around and couldn't find a 50 horse. But I called this Westside Marine in Roland, Arkansas, and they had this one 50 horse. I was very relieved about that. Like this Tohatsu. Boy, it is quiet and smooth. I think they've got a 5-year warranty. It's real happy with it. And a 50 horse is all this boat needs. It gets up and just takes off and goes just fine. Now I made this pipe contraction here because I'm carrying a 7.5 foot galvanized rod that I can use in 4.5 or 5 foot of water as a stick pin anchor. I can just poke it right down in there, jab it in the mud a little bit, and holds good. If I'm up on the bank, I can pin that back to keep the waves and the wind from washing around on it. I made this transom bracket, homemade. Of course, it's out of wood. The why not's what I call the boat. When I decided I was going to build a boat, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of boat advertisements. Of course, watched the swamp people. Saw a lot of boats. A lot of things that I wanted to do, and even more things that I didn't want to do with my boat. And I've had quite a bit of experience with boats through my life, so this is just a combination of years in being around boats and thinking about boats. So let's take a little closer look. The back compartments, the bottom, I raised it up about 4 inches in the back. I slanted that to keep water from washing in there and pooling up and not draining. And also, that's treated plywood, and I caulked the edges real good. It's a waterproof air pod back in there. Now, a wooden boat, if it ever swamps, it'll float. But when you add a motor and a battery for dead weight, might need an air pod. I really hope I never find out if that's enough to keep it up if it swamps. Had a hard time figuring out what to use on the bottom mat here. There's 60 or 70 choices. I ended up with a 1/2 inch rubber mat, a horse trailer mat. Now when I was building this boat, I wasn't in a hurry. Everything I did, every joint, every part, I would look at it and just figure out the best way to glue and screw or lap it just to make it just as strong as I could. And I also wanted to make sure that there wasn't any wasted space. And there's not in this boat. There's not a square inch that's usable that you can't get to if your arms are long enough. The control panel is laid out pretty traditionally. I had never mounted a motor like this, or certainly never installed a steering system, or did all the controls and wiring and all that, but didn't know what I was doing. Just followed the instructions, and it worked out just fine. Didn't have any problems. The top of the console, it lifts up so I can get to all my wirings and my fuses and my steering components. Towards the front of the boat, it's got a notch in it. I knew I'd be on the bank quite a bit, camping or call of the wild or emergency calls of nature. And it's 28 inches sides on this boat, but it's easy to step onto from the shore. I got these bright LED headlights, combination fog lights, so I'm ready for some nighttime activity. Under both the seats, this is 7 foot long, I made a sliding door track, and there's a lot of storage under those seats. I've got it vented in the front and in the back to keep it from getting musty, but it works real good. But my glass see-through panel is another story. Every place I've launched it so far, the water has been so murky that I hadn't seen a thing through it. But I got some clear lakes on my list for the future. Looking forward to that. Now, being a flat bottom boat, it doesn't have a V to help center it, so it has to be on that trailer pretty much in the right spot. I knew I was going to need some guideposts, so after I put the middle ones on, I looked at it, put a 2x6 across the top of it, and what I envisioned was if there's somebody in the boat while it's being launched, they can get in there and just push this way, and the boat just goes right off the trailer. In converse, when I'm loading the boat, I can just go up there and grab the post, pull it forward, and the boat just goes right forward, centered, to where I can latch it easy. That works great too. The boat handles were just fine. It's really happy with that. I guess that's about all of the boat part. Now, we took the grandkids to a lake the other day, and it was just white capping, and that's no fun in any boat. I had planned on taking a video of the boat in action. I've got a group following me on YouTube, maybe 12 or 13 of them, and I'm sure they were expecting a nice production of a pretty lake, maybe some classical guitar music playing a nautical theme, maybe a drone shot, but that never did happen. I got out there and discovered that holding a phone with one hand, turning it on and off, steering, operating the throttle, doesn't work very good. We got in a secluded little cove, and I took off and gunned it, hit a wave out there, and almost dropped the phone. So I just gave up on the video. And this might be my last YouTube video, unless something dramatic happens, and that is a possibility. So I appreciate you watching my videos. Now it's time to go do something else. A friend of mine the other day says, "You ever thought about building an airplane?" I said, "Nope."